What's up, guys?
Yo, last Sunday, man, episode 11.
We're back at it.
Yo, I'm excited about this episode today. We have a friend of me, a mentor of mine, Eddie Torres. Eddie, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's Friday. TGIF.
Let's go.
Yo, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you, taking time to be here with us, man. We're excited to have you here. I was telling Angel, I'm like, yo, we got to have my boy Eddie.
Oh, man.
Eddie is one of, he's one of my customers. I cut his hair, but over the past, 3 years?
At least.
Yeah, we developed this like really cool friendship, and I'm just so grateful.
We do coffee.
Yeah.
We're just not barber friends. Like, you don't just cut my hair. You're my guy.
Yeah.
No, but I do appreciate you, taking the time and believing in us and believing in the podcast. Yo, Eddie, tell us a little bit about who you are, man. What you do.
Oh, man. It's always hard for a person to speak. At least for me, it's hard to speak about who you are. But you were going to interject.
So I was going to say, well, we know you're a film composer, you're a musician, and you're a producer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you pretty much do it all. What else? What else?
Well, I'm a good father. I'm a good husband.
There you go.
And I'm a believer. God's in my life. So that starts the whole of who I am from that point on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about your passion, though. What, like your field? What do you do with film composing? I know.
So my field, my profession, my career just kicked off at the age of 9.
Wow.
It sounds weird, right? But at the age of 9 years old. But Dad gave me a guitar. It's $26 guitar. Didn't know how to play. He's a lefty. And he bought a guitar strung for a writing, and he brought it home. $26 was a big deal for us. I didn't, we were a poor family. We didn't have much, and so he brought the guitar home, and I gravitated to that guitar. From then on, the desire about being somewhat involved in music, didn't know to what magnitude, came about. That's where it all started.
Just that one instrument just kind of changed everything.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Man.
So you started as a musician first.
Yeah.
And then how did you develop from a musician into film composing and producing? So tell us
Break that journey down.
We're going straight to it, man.
Right to the meat. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to fast forward a whole lot here, right? So at the age of 9, I get this guitar, right? Uh-huh. So at the age of I finally learned my first guitar. At the age of 11, I get my first opportunity on stage as a musician, and I'm playing bass at this point. Picked up the bass after.
How old were you?
I was 11.
11
years old.
11 already?
At 11, I got my first opportunity on stage. Yeah. So from 11, I moved forward into my teens. And in my teens, I take my bass playing skills quite seriously and try to be the best that I could do, and I started getting called for gigs. So now I'm a gigging musician and playing with bands, and it rolled into getting opportunities in the studio, and I stared a studio musician.
What was that first band called? I know it was a ridiculous name or something.
Dude, do I gotta go there? Oh,
it was like El Quebrada or something, right?
All right, it's even more serious than that. Try to figure this one out. Shalom Adonai.
Oh no! See, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, like what? What language is that from? Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Like when you're in the dirt, like when you first start off, it's always some weird name.
I want to hear you say that name.
I can't say it.
Come on, you can do it.
Try
you can do it. Come on, Angel.
Shabbat.
No.
What is it?
First 2 words. Shalom.
Shalom.
Adonai.
Adonai.
There you go. Which
means that's Hebrew, right? Like peace.
That's a good piece of God. There you go.
God,
See,
See, man, I knew you were a Muslim, man. Come on, bro.
He sure is.
Yeah,
you look like one, bro.
Yeah, I do. I always get that.
That's like the run-on joke. I'm like, bro, we can't tell what you are, bro.
Yeah.
No, I'm
definitely. I know what Angel is. I can tell what Angel is, but you, I'm not sure.
Sometimes I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
Especially with my accent. Sometimes it's everywhere.
Like, I cut hair.
Yeah, we're gonna have to really check that background on you, man.
yeah. No, let's not go there. I don't want to get in trouble.
But that was the name of the first group, Piece of God. That's what it meant back then. And so I fast forward from the gigging, touring musician into getting opportunities in the studio. Now I'm learning studio, the etiquettes and recording as a musician, as a professional musician in the studio. And from that point, the excitement about recording in the studio kind of lit up, and I wanted to know more about how does this happen. rapping and all, and got into understanding what engineering is, what's a microphone in the studio, what's a condenser mic, what are preamps, outboard gear, and then all of a sudden I got my first opportunity to actually compose some music for some girls, and it was my first paid gig. You know, mind you, at this point I'm already working full time, and I'm already married at this. I was probably about 21, 22 years old around that. When I got my first paid opportunity, and guess how much I made for that?
So you're 21, you're already married, and you already had a kid.
I got married young. Yeah, I got married at 21, like literally a week.
Let's
Seriously,
go.
dude. You know, 21 back then is different than 21 now.
I'm 24, and I'm in the process of getting married. So that's,
you're really 24?
Yeah, I'm 24.
Oh, you look younger than that, man.
Nah, I know. I got the baby face.
Well, that's better because I was 21. Looked like most guys thought I was 31.
Oh,
back then.
I look like I'm like
different
in
times.
high school.
You do, man. I thought you were like 16, 17,
So
dude.
you were really young, 21. You had a kid.
21.
You were working full time doing what?
Full time working for the city of Chicago. I had a career job. I worked at the Department of Aviation out in Midway Airport. You know, and that was my career path.
So you were following your dreams. And being a father, a husband.
Well, the dream it didn't really start as a dream. It was more like the opportunity. You know, most gigging musicians, they get excited about their talents, and so I just saw them like, oh, I get the gig somewhere. Oh, someone's calling me to record somewhere, and then when they paid you, it was a bonus. It was like, whoa, I get paid to play.
Getting paid for something I like to do.
Yeah.
Seriously, dude. And so then I had the taste of like, oh, this is what professionals are kind of like. You know, you actually get paid, and they look at you differently. You respect. In fact, I remember one of my first earliest sessions opportunity was out in Evanston. Get called for a studio session for these ladies that had a wonderful project. Get in the studio, finish my part. You know, did my parts on bass, and after that, the studio engineer owner comes up to me and he says, "Hey, man, you're really good. I love the way you play. I love your vibe. I love your attitude." He says, "How'd you like to work on some more studio projects and record on some other, you know, that come through the studio?" And I said, "Man, I'd love to." And he says, "Can you come out tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning?" Wow. Like, it was that fast. And it was like, well, I had a city job. I already had a profession. So I actually turned down that gig, but it was more of a understanding of like, oh, this is kind of like what the music.
Oh, so you didn't go with it?
No, I didn't go for it. It didn't hurt my career path, but it
gave you that
lit
seed.
me up. Yeah, it gave me that seed and understanding of what guys in the industry look for. You know, I came in with an attitude of, I'm ready. I know my material. I'm going to be, you know, I'm set. You know, I'm not going to the showcase or do anything outside of what I got called to do. Yeah. So I'm in there as professional as I could be, and they loved my work, and it kind of opened the doors for opportunity.
I feel like I'm picking up so much right now because I'm in the process of chasing my dream, and like just hearing you say that, I work a normal job and I'm chasing my dream too, and then like you started getting paid for it. And it's like, my question to you is, what is that time where you're like, okay, let's just do this. Let's just do it. Let's quit the job and let's get straight.
Let's dive in faith, like I say.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a deep question because there's a lot of things and responsibilities that come with that.
Yeah.
You know,
especially if you got a kid.
You got a kid, you got a family, you got a career. You know, and most guys who a lot of times jump into this like that, especially at a young age, really are just hoping for the best. They shoot at the hip and hope for the best, and some end up leaving disappointed. Yeah. When I left my career job, there was some strategy in place, meaning I had to look and see at my forecast. All right, so I'm leaving a job of nearly 13 years with pension, career path, secure job, and I'm going to leave that behind to jump into music. What does my forecast of music look like today? How am I getting paid tomorrow? How's my next check look like for the end of the month?
You had to be realistic.
I had to be realistic. And so at that time, I had almost 6 albums that I had on my plate. So I had a forecast of work. From there on, it was a matter of hustling, knowing that, all right, I got to keep this game going, you know, because that's how I'm going to keep the money coming in through my business. So I took that step after I planned out what everything looked like for me financially. But then I went and took another step, and I hired an attorney, a business attorney, to get a little more understanding. How do I set myself as a business? I had no one around me to mentor me. I had no one that has never done this by themselves. And so I'm like really trying to figure it out. Back then it was the yellow pages, let your finger do the walking. You remember that?
Oh. So you didn't,
I'm dating myself.
You didn't have Google. You didn't have Google. Oh, man.
No, we didn't have
See, I couldn't
Google.
do it.
Hey, Siri, none of that kind of
Siri,
stuff.
please help me. I'm lost.
No, bro. Back in the day, there was this yellow book.
Yeah,
And the mail, they would drop it off, right? Like at las casas.
At your houses, at your
house.
businesses, and the commercial really was let your fingers do the walking. And the yellow pages, you were flipping pages for what you needed.
Yeah.
So, and I had to find an attorney that could give me, some study or some understanding on, all right, what do I do to set myself as a business? I just didn't want to just quit work and I jump in the studio, start making music. I needed to establish my responsibility, recognized as a business. So he walked me through that, pay a little money to get that done, spend the whole day to understand that. And there was a checklist of things that I had to do. And I, follow through. Got my business license. And I'm like, now I'm official. I'm officially a business owner. And it's a sole proprietor, meaning that I'm by myself. But it is a business. I have a IED, a tax ID number. I have to pay taxes to Uncle Sam.
Don't we all, man?
Yeah, and I didn't go Uncle Sam because God is Uncle, but we have to do diligence anyway. So that's that was kind of the process before I dove into it.
I would say, like, when you were talking right now, I was just thinking like the grind had to be different back there, man. Like back then versus now, it's like all this stuff, man. Jamie's in the building real quick. Just say what's up to Jamie. But
Jamie, that's my boy right there.
Jamie's in the building. Hey, make sure you go if you haven't listened to episode 10.
Yeah, go listen to it.
Jamie was going there. He did a really good job, man. So
I heard it all. It was on point.
Fire.
Yeah. Fire.
Jamie sent me some text messages like get this, and get this. And I'm like, okay, Amazon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's way different. Like you were like, let me see. I need to get a business attorney. I need to figure out who I need to get the right people in place.
Yeah. Back then it was, there was no Craigslist. Our Craigslist was you go to the Sun-Times or Chicago Tribune, go to the back classified section and look at the stuff for sale.
Yeah.
People were selling stuff. They would pay an ad and put it on the paper. And so that's where I found my first piece of equipment. It was a used piece, $167 for my first multi-track recording cassette player.
Wow.
So it was a cassette player. Do you guys know what a cassette is?
David knows.
You know what,
David
man?
knows.
You don't have to be so technical. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, David.
Hey, before,
like, yo, how old is he?
Yeah, right.
Before we start, we asked him, I was like, is there anything that you don't want to talk about? He's like, don't talk about my age.
And I just
he's
gave
giving
all
himself
that
away,
away.
man. Yeah,
I
he's
gave
giving
all
everything away.
But that's all good. That's all good.
So here's the thing that I think about when I think about Eddie Torres. I think about you have won some really big awards, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
But people have not. They don't know what you gotta go through. You know what I mean? And all that stuff that people just look at what you have, right? Like, can you tell us a little bit about your awards, real quick?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the award part's just in the past few years, I got the opportunity to, and mind you, I'm one guy that grew up never understanding what an award was. It's not something I've ever had a dream of. I'm going to win an award at some point. I'm working to get an award or nothing like that. It was always the love for the craft. What was in me at the age of 9 when Dad gave me that guitar, just birthed in there. But I did later on in life and in my career path, and I got an opportunity to score film. I had and thankfully my first film that I've ever it was a full feature film, international. It was in 2 languages, both in Malayalam, India, and also in the U.S. in English. And that film I won. That film by itself won several awards, but I won a few different awards as best original composer or best original score to that film.
Wow!
And from there on,
that was Nawal the Jewel. Right?
That film was a Nawal the Jewel, correct? Nawal the Jewel. Yeah.
Can we say the names? I don't want to.
Sure.
We're not gonna get in trouble.
No. You're good. No, these movies are all released. They're out there.
Okay, because I remember that when you were showing us.
Yeah.
Remember in the barbershop, you're like,
yeah.
I'm gonna show you something, but you guys can't say anything.
Okay, NDA.
You put in the work to be able to say that. Hey, you can't tell nobody.
Right.
And then you had another one for a movie called Romance, right?
And so Romance was another film. It was a short film, but it was director's based. It was based out of the country of Georgia. There's actually a country called Georgia, which is by Russia in that area. And I met him in my first award show, or my first award out in Amsterdam. That's where the award ceremony was at. And so that was then Romance came along, and I won some awards for that as well.
How was the feeling of winning that? Like, Like, what was in your
man,
like, in your mind?
This is the best story ever. I got, and I know you cut me where you need to cut me, but because it means a lot, and so that you guys know, and those who are watching, man, it's not just about that accolade, and that's fantastic. It's the experience that takes you right up to that point. Yeah. When you look back and see, man, what you went through to get that, it's just when it all reflects your point.
And that's what I want to talk about, because a lot of people, when I go to your page, I see you holding this little crystals. It's Eddie with his like trophies. Yeah. But I'm like, you don't understand the pain that he had to go through. Not just you, but you with the family at 21 with the wife. She was probably frustrated at you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you doing?
What are you doing, man?
I have another gig, but
dude, you know
we need to eat.
Yeah, right.
And I think a lot of creatives, you know what I mean, give up on their dreams because it's too heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think there's a few that end up doing what they really want to do, right? Because the journey is so hard. You know what I mean?
It's hard, and part of that hardness is actually trying to also be consistent in what you do. You have to have commitment. You got to be committed to follow through your passion, and once you're committed to that, you gotta stay consistent, because you'll never know if you succeed if you're not consistent. If you stop at some point, you're like, man, I don't know. I know that I quit. That's all you're going to remember. I did this, but then I quit. And I say that lightly, but with that saying, there's a lot of meat to that.
There's a lot of weight, and it shows though, because you started getting your awards 2017, 18?
Yeah, around 2000. Yeah, yep. About 2018 is when I got my first award. The film was started. Our first contractual discussion was in 2016.
Yeah, that was with Jewel.
With the Jewel. Correct. Yeah.
And then that one opened up the doors for everything.
Dude, Angel David. Let me tell you that it opened.
But how many years did it took you to get there?
I left the city of Chicago in around 2001, 2002. I got my business license in 2002, my official license then. So since 2002 through 2016, I'm producing, several, at this point, probably, hundreds of projects throughout the years. And so I've been in the industry doing music, for the artists, for jingles, for TV. I've done stuff for Telemundo. I've done commercials for, Delray Farm, for TCF Bank. And so all that just kind of prepared me for 2016 when I get that call, about scoring a film.
Do you ever, like, at home watching something and you're like, hey, I did that.
Yeah, it is exciting when you see yourself or hear your name or see yourself on TV, or you hear your name on TV, and like I said, that's all those are like the pats on your shoulder. Those are like, hey, you did that, But greater is the passion, man, and then the grind that you're talking about that really make you feel solid about what you're doing. You feel so.
I was gonna say I don't.
So many questions.
So like for me, like, because I'm in the process, man. Like I'm 24. I got a kid. I got another one on the way. And I look up to like dudes like you, like that been in the mud and kind of put in the work.
Yeah.
And I always like what you were saying, like consistency. And I'm noticing that, like, consistency, even when it's down, even when it's up, just being on time every time. Yeah. Just keep pushing.
You every day should be with the same passion, with the same heartbeat. You got to keep, because if not, then I'm gonna wake up on a day that I just don't feel like writing music. All right, well, then I don't write music, but let me try thinking. I was talking to my boy Jamie, our boy Jamie today about that. We know that in the industry, come November, December, January, it's a really dead time for us creative people, our business, because most folks are in vacation mode, or it's the holiday season. Mm-hmm. So no one's really investing in doing anything. Everyone wants to take some time off, take a break, and prepare for the new year. Yeah. And so financially for us, it doesn't always read well. Yeah. And I was telling Jamie, and I'm like, Jamie, one strategy that we have to keep in mind and try to always focus on is like invest in yourself on that time frame then. And how do you do that? Well, market yourself. How do you brand yourself? Brand yourself better. How do you want your year to look like? How do you want people to see you for the new year coming in? So you take time to learn, do some email blasts, send out some shout outs to people, update your website, update your social media handles, anything that will bring a buzz to your work. So come February, March, folks are like starting getting a fresh image of you and like, yo, I want to work with Angel. I want to work with David. You know,
and that's so good because a lot of times I think as a creative, you don't see work and you get discouraged and you're like, I'm just gonna do something else.
Right.
And then you focus on something else. You're over here door dashing and playing video games, and you're not chasing your dream.
You're not chasing your dream.
And that's what's gonna separate the real, the real ones, with the ones that are just iffy about it. You know?
I mean, you mentioned about hard times. I can name several hard times that I went through, the grinds, the deep grinds, and I'm talking about stories that you hear from even people today, like the Tyler Perry's, that slept in his car and and then he was gonna leave homeless, but look where his success now.
Yeah. Because can you share with us one? What are your hardest?
Oh, the hardest.
Yeah. Do you remember?
He's like,
my gosh,
I want to get into it.
There's a couple that are really hard, that hit very hard at home, and I'll go back to when we were young, right? So part of that decision to leave corporate America, leave a career job and a pension, a secure position, security, to dive into a faith walk, to dive into hoping that this career path will lift up. Yeah. I was in a hardship with my family. I wasn't necessarily in a good place at home, and there was a lot of variables to that, and a lot of the weight felt because of my involvement in the music. I was as a musician, I'm also a music director at a church. My commitment there was huge. I'm playing in gigs. I'm coming home from work, jumping right down to the studio, and I'm spending several hours in the studio in the evening, and I'm going to bed at 1, 2, 3 in the morning to get back up at 4 or 5 in the morning, go back to work.
You're speaking to me, man.
Then well, listen to this, dude. That created a big hardship in my home. And it almost broke my home. This is I could write a book on my life and on this journey, man. But that brought to the decision of where my wife and we had to sit down. My kids are little ones. I have a son and a shout out to them. I love them. Joshua and Alexa, I love you guys.
Kids.
They're the best, man. They're my number one fans, and so we had the hardship at home, and they were little ones. They really didn't understand that, but they knew something wasn't right at home, and it boiled down to me understanding that I have to balance my life out better. And with that comes some decisions, and those decisions have to be in alignment with my wife or my partner, because if it's just a one way, it's not going to happen. You both have to be, you have to be in the same page and understand that, okay, she sees my vision, my passion, my heartbeat. That's what's making home a little hard, is that I'm taking away music is taking me and creating a bubble at home, and was open to the opportunity of the decision to leave corporate America and start the music career and make that now my bread and butter. And so that was a big, I mean, the story is a lot more in depth than what I'm explaining to you all, because there's things that sometimes that touch certain nerves, because it was a bad time at home. But man, I'm grateful that we did see eye to eye, and we both agreed on these terms, and until I'm 33 years, almost 34 years later, man, married to the same woman, and my kids, my son, I'm blessed to have beautiful kids.
Hey, give him a clap. Give him a clap.
Round of applause, for real, man. Round of applause.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Honestly, man, that's inspiring. Just like to hear that, because I'm young. I'm going through the same thing, and just to hear like you made it through and you're successful, and you did it, and you chased the dream, and you got your rewards and your accolades, and that's great. That's just
man, something I really like too is you brought your wife into the journey with you.
Yes.
A lot of times I think we're like, oh, you don't want to come with me? All right, fine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think there's something important there about bringing your loved one into the journey, into the mission, and communicating. Right. That had to be key. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, I know with my family, my pops, there was a lot of machismo or like pride, you know what I'm saying? That sometimes that breaks marriages, because there's not a level of communication. Say, hey, where are we going? Right. And we both need to be here, in the same mindset.
You have to be. Yep.
Because if not, the family is going to break. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like something has to sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? My career, this. Were you willing to sacrifice your dreams for your family? Like, did it come to that point where you're like...
No. No, my musician side of me, and remember when you're in this scenario, when the bubble's already been created, when the vision in your home's already there's enough tension in there to know that if we can't see eye to eye, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing.
Yeah.
And I was young, and many of us think that way. So like she's either gonna get on board with this or she's not, and I'm gonna move on. And it was at that time, because of lack of understanding, how important this decision was in my life, that I'm glad I made the right decision. But it would have destroyed my family. But I would have, at that point, the anger and the frustration I had, I'm like, okay, if this doesn't work out, then I'm gonna move on forward. I'm gonna continue. And I can't see the outcome of that. I can't. I don't know the future. Yeah. I'm sure it wouldn't have been where I'm at today. Yeah. I'm sure it would have been different.
And I feel like when it comes to that, it's like I truly believe that God has a plan.
Yeah.
And it's like God puts these different things and sets these things in your life for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was what it was made for. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how I'm kind of like rolling with the punches, I'm like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just
but man, check this out, Angel. I mean, and to encourage you and anyone who's listening to this, any creative person, really is that, people like us, we're positive people, right? So, we're faith believers. A lot of us walk, you might have people who don't know the Lord here, but you might have people who have faith, they believe in the Lord. Yeah. I believe that people like us who have faith, we're needed in the industry. I mean, we're needed in the commercial industry. Yeah. And I'll tell you this because as my circle of people that I'm coming across in the industry, I'm finding there's a lot of need, and some feel and see something different about me, and they make the comments, and then they open up and start talking to you about their problems or things that they're going through, and they're like, "Man, I see you got it together. I see you're a family man. I see you're a faith guy. I don't see they don't see nonsense and junk, and I'm not perfect by no means, Amen, but I know that I try to stay. I try to be transparent with my faith. Who I am, who you see is who I am all the time. In the industry, sometimes that could be dangerous because a lot of folks are like, you got to guard yourself because there's some bad people out there. Whatever, I want to trust God to guide me on that, man, and watch my back. But that's, honestly, that's the thing. I think that people like you, Angel, like you, David, like me, like Jamie, need to be present in the commercial world because there's enough bad happening already in the creative world. We see the headlines all the time.
I think that you're in a great place because
that's a mission field. That's a mission field.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yep, that really is.
I would say like you're in a great place because I feel like a lot of people will get the accolades and then they don't feel nothing, but you already kind of like walking in faith and you're letting God. It's different. You know what I mean? It's like you already have your core values of God and stuff like that. So like, I feel like a lot of these people like in those industries, they kind of like, they still feel lost even after getting all the rewards, even after getting all these different stuff.
Because I think a lot of it sometimes is, I think back to my first award, mentioning something to you earlier, David, that what was my experience walking up to that point? I'll tell you what it was. I'm sitting down in Amsterdam. I'm in Europe and in the Netherlands, a place I never thought I'd be in my life, and had no reason to be out there. I'm sitting in front of the hotel. The award show starts at 5 o'clock in the evening. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm dressed down in jeans, T-shirt, gym shoes, a cup of coffee sitting out front in front of the hotel, still wondering, why am I here? I got nominated. So for me, the nomination was the win. I'm like, God, I got nominated. I can't expect anything else from here. Yeah. So, dude, I'm sitting in front of the hotel, and I'm kind of doing this vlog. And I got my phone, and I'm vlogging myself, little clip, and I was sending it to my wife, and then I all of a sudden realized, dude, it's almost time for the show. Maybe I should go back to my room and get dressed because it's a suit and tie. Everyone's dressed up, so I got to go to my room. But I was so like, I already won by the nomination. I didn't think that anything else would happen. Yeah. So I go in my hotel room, get all dressed up, get all suited up. I send pictures of my wife. How do I look, mommy? By the way, shout out to my beautiful wife, my Juanita. Hey. We call her Beba. I love you so much.
Round of applause to his wife.
Yes. She rocks, man. That's my note. She's awesome.
Thank you for letting him out tonight. With us.
Yeah, thanks for letting me hang out with the young boys. I promise to be home by 10.
Hey, I gotta go, man.
I gotta go.
You can't do this too long.
So I don't want to lose that thought.
So I'm in my hotel room. I get changed. And I get to the banquet hall, right? We all walk in. It's a beautiful layout. They have the red carpet, and everyone's suited up. People taking pictures and all. And mind you, this is international. It's all over the world. Folks from all over the world. I mean, for Africa, Asia, Europe. I mean, they're U.S. They're all over. So I get in there, and it's such a beautiful banquet. We're sitting now. They instruct us where we're sitting. So I'm at the table with the director, with the producers, and there's some actors in there, and we're sitting at this table. And then they go through like the award shows you see on TV, the global awards and the Grammys, etc. And so with the films, they start showing the clips of each film, that was nominated, and our film came up, which is Now with the Jewel. That pops up, and the audience, everyone's clapping. I'm sitting down, and I'm not thinking I'm going to win. I want to see which composer. Now, there's probably at this point, I think there was maybe about 25 other composers who were not nominated in the same category. So now my chances of winning for the first time against 25 other composers all over the world, for me, it was like slim to none. This ain't going to happen. And I'm just so I'm sitting down, and I kid you not, I'm just sitting down, relaxing, reading, they're doing all those snippets and stuff. And they said, okay, and the winner is the folks with the wonderful British accents, and the winner is,
And the winner is,
Noel the Jewel, Eddie Torres.
Wow.
I was in such disbelief that I just stood there, just staring at the front, and, and the director and the actress who was next to me was in the film. She was the lead actress. A shout out to Reem Kadam. She takes her elbow. Go Eddie, go. And I'm like, go where? I'm like, what do I say?
You were dreaming.
I had to go up on stage, go to the front, and I had to give a speech, accept my award and give the speech. And I'm like, my body felt like it was shrinking in the chair. Like I couldn't move, man. I'm like, how the heck do I get up from here, dude? And so I get up and I make my way out. I couldn't believe the amount of people who were supporting me, who I met throughout the week, the filmmakers that were so excited for me on this win. And I really didn't realize all this till after, after the separation, the show was over, how many people came to me. And it was a wonderful experience. But I get to the front, and most folks show up with a little index card to remember who to thank. Hey, I want to take a moment to thank the foreign press, and I want to thank the director, and I want to thank I got up there, no notes. They gave me the microphone, and I'm like, I'm just in disbelief I'm here, and I'm like, and I can't believe that I'm here. And someone shouted out from the audience, this film director and the lady, she said, and you did it, and I was like, who knows me that well to just shout out this way, in the audience. And I said my speech. I said, I thank God. I thank my family. I thank everyone except the director of the film, which is the first person you're supposed to thank, because he gave you the opportunity. And I apologize later.
Thanking him though, or no?
Yeah, after he looked at me kind of strange. You didn't mention my name. They're like, you're right. Let me rewind the tapes when I see that. And sure enough, I did forget to mention him. And later on in another awards ceremony that was won for the same film, he was there, and I made sure. I said before I forget, first God, and then my director, and went down the punch list. But that's how I felt. I felt like, and there's a bigger story even to this. Mm-hmm. There's a spiritual side to that moment that led to that moment, and all the awards I've won thus far. Yeah. And I don't know how much time we have in the show.
No,
here.
no, I don't want to go on that.
All right, we'll hold that one.
I want to ask you that because I know that. There's just.
It's a great story.
It's a great story behind
not that it's mine, but it's just because representing a thing that happened in my life that I would have never thought these things would happen. So.
Yeah. We'll talk about this because I want to
part two.
The thing is that I want to have part 2 with Eddie. So
awesome.
We want to talk about more about the spiritual aspect of that and how that played off.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. You got it. I was gonna ask. So I was just thinking like. Through all that and like you get to that point where you're winning the awards. How did you keep your mind level through all that? Like not get too big headed, what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of times once you start seeing the success, you kind of get like, you know what I'm saying? Because like
I know. And there's and I mean winning could give you that a certain amount of satisfaction to your work, that if you're not cautious, it could mess with your mind and you feel like you did it. Yeah, David.
I think it's years too. That length of years that took you, your roots went deep. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's what
that played into it. Yeah, that played into it. Because I never. I never came into this thinking Hollywood. I never, I'm a voting member for the Grammys, and I never thought I'd be wearing that opportunity, and never thought I had enough commercial, work in my life that I'd be considered, and privileged to have that opportunity. And I sat with some of the greatest folks in Beverly Hills. I sat and had lunch with, or breakfast on the same table with Rodney Jerkins, Darkchild, and these are big names in the industry. I'm the little Eddie Torres, musician from the church who played and just did my thing, man. So
I said wow, and I don't know who this is. I'm too young.
Okay.
I'm too young. I was like, wow.
We're gonna go and look them up.
Google him later.
Google Darkchild, Rodney Jerkins. You're gonna see who that is.
Eddie, I know we said 8, but I have one last question. So, what would you say to a creative that wants to chase his dreams, but he's having that what would you call it?
Somebody that's chasing their dreams and they feel stuck. Like they're not gonna get past it. Either they're going through a hard time or they just feel like they're not gonna actually succeed.
I mean, without it sounding cliche, you just don't give up. Part of that staying consistent is that, I did tons of time went through that and felt the same thing, and I got to tell you that even in the journey that I've had throughout these years in my life, there's times where my music somewhat had to take a pause. I had, for a period of time, I took a step back and my music became a part-time, and I went and I started doing some contractual work with the government, and I was traveling over 100,000 miles a year, and it was paying well and all, but that wasn't where God was. That wasn't where he had put me. It was a season in my life for a reason, and I had to understand and read that. Even though I felt myself confused and but I'm in my hotel room and demanding from God, hey man, you got to tell me, why am I sitting in this hotel room out in Thermopolis, Wyoming? I had never been there before. I'm sitting in there like, God, talk to me, and that's the thing about the spiritual side. A lot of you got to have that communication with the Lord God, man, because that helps a bad day. That'll get you through a bad day and it'll help you focus for the next day, and really it's being consistent. Don't feel that things happen. Look at how long I've been at it. I didn't get my first film opportunity till I left corporate America in 2001, 2002. So it's been 10 years before that opportunity came, but it's part of that journey of preparing me so that when that phone call came, when I got the call for that film, can you and will you? And I said, yeah, hung up, and I said, what the heck did I just commit to? I had no idea about film. I thought that was just something you watch on TV and you listen to, and I don't know who does that. I had no circle of friends and folks, anyone that had any idea what that was like. Yeah. But that cost me over 80 hours a week. I grew a beard, complete full beard, never shaved, and I spent because I had to score this film in 2 languages in 30 days. And then I had, and in India, which we're at a 10 hours difference, huh?
That was that
Nawalda Jewel. It was 10-hour difference between my communication with the film crew and the director, and so I'm working through the night. I mean, my hours. I was sleeping 2 hours a day. I'm literally, and my wife gonna tell. She's the one who kept track of hours for me. But by the time I go to bed, she's getting up. So I'm coming to bed about 5, 6 in the morning. She's getting up. She's already at work, going to work, and then I'm backing down in the studio by 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm starting that circle all the way to the next day.
Wow!
I took my seriousness of the level of seriousness to do something I've never had an experience, but the hunger that I had that I'm going to do this, I'm not going to mess it up, and I'm going to figure it out. I don't know who to call. I'm going to trust God, and I'm going to get through this, and I did it. And all the way, bam,
bro. Hey, round of applause, awesome, man. Come on. Man. So you had to take that risk. I did. I was just thinking, you just took risks. I took a risk,
but I believe it's part of that journey I'm telling you about. I know how to make music.
Yeah.
So now for me it was like, I just got to know how to take my music and put it onto a picture. So there's a lot of technicality I got to figure out. How do I deliver these films? How do I score a cue? How do I set up a template? How do I deliver the files when I'm done? How do I get it mixed? Understanding what's the director's vision on this film? How do I complete that communication?
Did you have to have the film Like
in front of me,
in front of you while you're like putting.
Yeah, so there's different methods of people composing for film. A lot of folks do they compose the picture, what they call write the picture, and I like doing that because I like to visually I get inspired. Other films they write the score after they've met with the director and they say, hey, listen, this is the kind of music we're looking for, and then the composer go back, write some music to that, and they go and then they have a music editor. The music editor will go and start cutting the music to fit the picture. So there's another element that happens behind after the music's been composed.
That's why you won the award. You put the work in.
I did.
You were watching it. You were inspired. That's great.
It inspired me, and I mean, it was a great experience. And you know, this movie that I wrote, that it was a sad story, so it tugged to my heart. A lot of scenes that you know, because it was based on a true story and a sad story, and so it even moved me in ways that I didn't think it would. You know, I mean, at 3-4 in the morning.
Where can we find that movie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the
so right now we're working. The film released in India, right, in the country of Malayalam, India, and so they have the exclusive right to showcase it out there. Currently, they're working still on distribution here in the U.S. So sadly, it's not available in U.S. right now. What's available is the Indian version, which is in, like I said, the language of Malayalam in India, and so you'd have a hard time trying to understand the film. But you know, there's some footwork which I can't talk a whole lot about right now. You talk about certain things.
There we go.
There's some footwork happening on the back end, and we're hoping to have it in USA soon, and then you're going to see a lot of blast happening about the film.
What other films have you done? So you have that one, romance,
romance,
Life Ain't
movies, Unvaccinated, and
can we talk a little bit of Unvaccinated?
Sure.
The name was so cool.
I know, and that one seems to be pretty catchy. I've gotten some calls and some messages from some folks. I'm like, exactly what is that film about? You know, especially in this time.
Yeah, actually,
times.
We're not gonna go to that.
Yeah, let's not get into.
Okay.
No, we're not gonna get into it because I want to have a part 2, and we'll talk about
boring topic.
Unvaccinated, but.
It's a boring topic.
No, that sounds like a dope movie, right?
No,
especially nowadays.
I'm excited about the music. By the way, shout out! It's going to be released next Friday, the 28th. The soundtrack, the original motion soundtrack. I'm excited. It's going to be released. It's going to be available on Apple, on Spotify, all your major stream forms, and you can even buy it and download it. And if you have like the design, if you want to hear the high definition of the way it was really recorded, you know, I'm going to have it available even in that format.
That's
as
cool.
well.
And where can people find you?
Yeah.
Social media.
EddieTorresMusic.com. That's my website. You'll find all my social media. All my social media are pretty much everything is Eddie Torres Music, all one word. So EDDIE for Eddie, and then Torres Music.
Well, definitely tag his Instagram, and on his Instagram is the link. So if you guys want to check that out too.
Yeah.
Eddie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much,
man.
man.
My honor, dude. And
okay, so next we'll talk a little bit. Part 2, we'll talk a little bit more about the spiritual aspect of it, and then a couple more of your films. Unvaccinated, we're gonna talk about that, and kind of like you can.
And Life Unlike the Movies. We got to touch that one, man. Life ain't like the movies, because literally life is not like the movies, man.
And then David's actually gonna take you out because I don't got no money.
Yeah, so y'all. By the way, I hear when you walk on this show after that you guys take your guests out to eat. So I'm excited to be out. Where we're gonna eat today? What do we have?
With the check-ins and the savings, it's hard for me to transfer over.
No. Eddie, you know.
You mean your check is gonna bounce, bro?
Is
that basically?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I can't do it, bro.
I don't want to go to
family,
jail.
Eddie. You know, and
Well, come on, bro.
Hey, you know what? I'm actually in the process of struggling, like how you were, so I can't do it. You know, so like, you know what I'm saying?
You know, this story I'm too known about. I mean, I know, but I hear this story for so many years now, and a lot of times I end up at these restaurants with the fellas after a gig or something, and everyone's broke for whatever reason. They all turn to me. You know, like if I'm the money roller here, the bill's here, and everyone's like, who's paying for this?
You know why? Because you're well put together.
Hey, they're not your homies, bro.
No, they're a bunch of cheapskates.
Yeah, they really are. You gotta get new friends, bro.
David, last time we went out, you didn't give me either.
No,
so.
you always gotta throw it down. That's how you know if they're your real friends. You know what I mean?
No, at some point, throw down at some point. I got you. I'll get the dessert.
No, what you do is you grab the card and you act like you're gonna put. Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah. No, and everyone wants to use the bathroom too around the same time.
Yeah.
After they finish eating and they're, the bill comes on.
No, next time you stop them right there, we're like, hey, ven pa acá.
Yeah. That don't happen anymore, by the way. That was in the past.
Yeah, that's in the past.
Yeah, the past. Now I just say, are we doing Dutch here or who's paying?
Yeah. Well, we'll see tonight.
Do you guys know what doing Dutch is? You guys don't even know what that is.
I don't know.
Doing Dutch.
No.
You know what doing Dutch is? That means
like,
it's not like a language, slang. It just means everyone pays for themselves.
Oh.
Yeah, you pay your own bill.
we're learning a lot, man. Cassettes, yellow books.
Oh, come on, don't take me, bro. Let your fingers do the walking.
I'm 32, so I lived through that.
Yeah, I was 32
Learn how to
once.
chase your dreams, how to take risks.
Yeah. But do it with smartness and some strategies, and don't just do it and dive and just say hope for the best. Especially if you got a family.
Yeah.
You got to consider and factor them in this whole equation. And if you get a happy wife,
Happy wife.
I can talk about that too, man. When your wife is happy and you honor them, everything. You guys ever heard of the love languages?
Yes.
That book, The Love Languages. Yep.
Yes.
Just like that.
I tell
Fill
her,
that
I'm
tank.
like, I need a hug.
You look too young to be married, man.
Dude,
Seriously, you're 25?
I'm 24.
24.
Hey, God is
That's
good,
awesome,
man. That's how I came to the Lord.
Yeah.
I
His
mean-
testimony. I'm like, you're married.
Yeah, seriously, you look
Someone loves you?
I mean,
When I grow up, I want to look like you, man. Seriously.
No, I mean, I was with her, and I'm just like, we had, my son, and we're not.
Man.
We're
How
not
old is your son?
He's 1. She's gonna yell at me every single time someone asks me. It's like every time.
Yeah, hey, we're going to close the podcast
sorry. What's your
now.
wife's name? What's her name?
Allison,
I'm so sorry I brought your husband into this conversation.
Dude, I'm gonna get yelled at now, man. Come on.
No, my apologies. Take it out on
We're
me.
going to cut it off. We're going to change the topic. Eddie, thank you so much for coming here. Episode 11.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching us. And make sure you go back, listen to Jamie.
Listen to Jamie. He's in the background.
He's in the back right now. He's just
He's
sitting
on
there
his phone.
Eating pizza.
Yeah, he ate a whole pizza. Didn't share at all.
Not one.
No one. Hey, let's go.
This is
Episode 11. Let's get it. Last Sunday.
11,
for being on, man.
Thank you, man. I
Appreciate you guys. My
Let's
fist is
get
up
it.
in the air. Thank you. Bam.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Peace.